All right, I'd like to call the September 5th, 2024 meeting of the Health Committee to order. We have all members present, so we have a quorum. Do we have any members of the public?
Chair Schaefer, we've had no requests this evening.
Thank you. Next is item 3 is consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Motion by Johnston, second by Hanson. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda is approved. Moving on, number 4 is departmental matters. First up is Jason Tabb, Juvenile Detention Superintendent.
Good afternoon, everyone. I do not have any action items. You should have my report. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions for Mr. Tabb? Thank you.
Thank you.
You always get off pretty lucky there every month. Next is Alana Strum and Diane Hughes. Alana's from Advanced Correctional Healthcare, and Diane Hughes is the jail superintendent. And we have Diane at the table.
Good evening. I have Ms. Strum's report. She's not present tonight. If you have any questions, let me know. Present with us this evening is Jackie Mathias from Inmate Services Behavioral Health, and Lieutenant Matthew Proctor, who has also brought a guest with him, which is our facility dog, Daisy, who works with both staff and inmates.
Okay, first we'll have any questions on the report? No? Okay, so if Jackie would like to come up, and I don't know if Matt wants to come up too, to show us Daisy.
I
And
also want to add,
explain what Daisy does and all that stuff.
we also have an intern here
we-
from ISU McKenna.
McKenna, okay, great.
If you'll just hit the mic.
Yeah. And then you can bring Daisy back behind here so we can all give a little pet to her, you know.
Yeah, I figured I wouldn't have to talk too much. It'll be the dog that.
So Daisy's not really official yet with the county, but hopefully Tuesday will be my final test with her. She's trained. It's just me that's been in the training for the last several months, but she works with, obviously she's a hit with staff. She's a big hit with the inmate population as well, so we've done a couple different things with her on that. Very well received. We try to get out and see people as much as we can. I don't know what else I'm open to any questions if anybody has any on Daisy. She's through an organization called Paws Giving Independence. There's several people, there's one other person in the county I know that has gone through that organization. They're 100% non-for-profit, all volunteer organization. They've been great to work with. The trainers are, some of the trainers are Logan Correctional inmates. So they're inmates in Logan Correctional Center. The female inmates down there will train the dogs, the puppies. McKenna's part of that group as far as at ISU. When the dogs come out, they go to ISU or Bradley students, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but they give them social stuff in the real world. So it's just a great organization. She's had many trainers that have all been excellent, and I couldn't be happier to bring her on. I think McLean County is pretty unique by having her on. I've had lots of phone calls we went to a conference, lots of phone calls about how to go about the process, how's it work, and we're kind of flying blind at it essentially because we're one of the first to do it, especially of a county of our size. So I think that's all I have unless anybody has any questions about her.
So kind of another feather in McLean County's hat that we are doing something pretty progressive.
I would
We
concur.
continue to do that with in this arena. So you got any good stories?
I've got a couple. One, me and Jackie just did a cleaning contest, a clean pod. We had 2 pods kind of compete against each other to see who could get the area the cleanest. Daisy does have a little bit of a wanna snack and find food and crumbs on the ground, so we were trying to get everybody. We had people, they really got into it and really wanted to impress Daisy and me and Jackie on seeing how clean they could get their area. The one housing unit that we did it was our, where we house a lot of our behavioral health special needs inmates. So they really took to it well. They all got rewarded with a good lunch and some soda, and Daisy came over and played ball with them, and we had a good time with that.
Dropped hair all over their.
Yeah, and then she shed all over their clean floor, and so back at it. We had another lady that did not want to move from a housing unit. We had to move her because we were closing that housing unit and moving to a different one, and she didn't want to move, and her mental health was kind of clouding that. We went up and talked to her, and she'd recognized Daisy from before, and as soon as we opened the door, she just popped up, wanted to see Daisy, and we said, let's go down and look at this other room, and Daisy will walk with you, and she moved no problems. So it was good to kind of use her to kind of bridge that or make that conversation happen. We had another guy that hasn't showered in a long time and refused to. He just did not want to shower. I think there was some mental health stuff there. I don't know exactly what the cause of that was, but he wanted to pet Daisy, and I said, well, unfortunately for Daisy's, you got to be clean and hygienic. And he took showers, 3 showers in a row, which he hadn't taken one in several months. And so he got to visit with Daisy, and several little stories like that. I don't want to single anybody out, but I've had staff that just come up and hug her and say, I needed just to see her today. And so lots of good stories like that. Several people have been either on like a safety watch of some sort, and they'll see her and just hug her and cry. And so she's done a lot of good for that for staff and the people that are incarcerated there.
Thank you. Anybody else have any other questions? Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm assuming that she goes home. Does she go home with you?
Yes, she lives with me full time.
So that when she's off duty, she can really be off duty?
Yes, this organization does not want the dog to live at the facility. They want them to be a dog when they're not working. So when she's off, when that vest is off, she's a dog, and when she's got the vest on, she's in work mode. So, and she knows that.
Okay.
So she walks and runs and does everything at home that a normal dog would do.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Now, Jackie.
I was asked to come and kind of get an update of what kind of behavioral health, mental health services that we are providing in the jail at this time. So a quick rundown. Thankfully, the sheriff recently asked me for a list, so I had one available. Our individual services, we have mental health counseling. I have 2 therapists. I have an LSW and an LCPC therapist. My LSW is taking the test in November to be LCSW. Therapist for mental health counseling. We have substance abuse counseling. Currently, my case manager is working on that, and she is sitting in a couple of weeks for the CADC certification. So we'll have hopefully a certified alcohol and drug counselor on staff as well. We have a psychiatric medication prescriber who we contract through for 20 hours per week through Carl Broman. She is also our MAR, medication-assisted recovery for a substance abuse prescriber. So she covers both of those in the same realm. Given that a lot of our people have dual diagnosis, it works out nicely because she kind of covers it all at once, one sitting. We also have case management and reentry planning. So my case manager, Bethany, who is also working to be the substance abuse counselor, is doing double duty quite a bit, but she provides linkage to services once they're released. So she has found housing at times for people, help them get set up in Oxford House, get set up in other places, go online and apply for benefits. We need to know their out date to be able to apply for the benefits because they have to be able to answer the phone and things like that. But she is links all over the place and knows pretty much everyone in town. So she's got that. So we get people set up as well as we can before they walk out the doors. In groups, we have, this is actually a shorter list of them because we rotate them quarterly depending on what the need is and what people are signing up for the most. But, and some are ongoing. We have anxiety group, mood management, MRT, which is moral recognition therapy. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. Another CBT group called Thinking for Good. Stress management, 2 substance abuse groups. Both my case manager and one of my therapists are trauma certified for trauma groups. So we have men's trauma group up and running, anger management, grief group. We have, both I and Bethany are mental health first aid instructors. So we do mental health first aid for both staff and for our incarcerated population. For both of those groups. And then we have DBT and Women's Self-Confidence Group. We've had many other groups as interns come in if they're interested in running groups, because our interns come from criminal justice, social work, and psychology and sociology programs. So they might come in with different groups. Our volunteer or peer-led support groups are Inner Circle. That's a peer-led group that is in the prison system and locally here. Path to Healing is led by volunteers from Labyrinth at the YWCA. We have AANA and Celebrate Recovery, and a job partnership group that is with, I'm blanking on their names, Michelle. Michelle, but I'm blanking. And then additional activities that we do just for kind of general wellness and mental wellness of everyone there is we this year started a gardening project for our incarcerated persons. So we were just out actually picking more tomatoes. Matt and I probably weren't the best people to go pick plants because we don't grow things, but yeah, so we have a lot of tomatoes, a lot. Like tomatoes have made it around and they're still coming. So, but that's been really good. And actually we've been able to take people out on rough days and like, hey, why don't you come out and help me water and help go do this? Or they'll ask and say, can I just go out there today? Like I've had a day. And so that was one of the things. I listed Daisy, our holiday gift program that we've had for 3 years. This will be our 4th year coming up. Last year we expanded it to include making ornaments and some picture frames, and we donated those to 2 local nursing facilities as gifts as well to make those. We do contests, so we've had the cleaning contest, but we also had a recipe contest from County Tray to Gourmet is what we called it. So we can make kind of a, what can you make out of your commissary items and things like that. We've had poster contests, the officers run chess tournaments and card games and things like that. We have our storybook program, which I think many of you already know is where our incarcerated individuals can read books for either their children, grandchildren, just special kids in their lives. And then we record that and send the recording and the book along to that they can send that home to their families. And then we are recently just put together a reentry packet. And so in our reentry packet that we will offer to everyone, we'll have voter registration, our local, our reentry pamphlet that lists our local services such as PATH, Center for Human Services, the Behavioral Health Urgent Care, Chestnut, the shelters, various things like that. It's got a map for downtown, a bus map, 2 doses of Narcan, and instructions on that. And I think we're getting one more place that would like to add to our, would like us to add it in that has clothing and food pantry options as well. So that's something new that we have coming up soon. Hoping in the future to expand, hopefully expand at some point with a substance abuse counselor full-time to go along with our case manager and mental health counselors. We're looking into art projects and art, kind of brightening things up with art and murals somewhere. That's what we have so far. I also recently, we're hoping to work with DHS on being trained to begin the process of what they need to be fit for the court so that we are not in dead time while they're waiting to go and we're able to work with them. We would not ourselves deem them fit, but we might be able to start the process that they do there so that we can get that going a little bit better. So those are some of the things we're working towards. Any questions?
That's a lot.
It's a lot, sorry.
Question?
Yeah, I just want to point out. So I spoke to one of my students, one of my elementary school students last week about some struggles that she was having, and she mentioned how pleased she was that her mom, who is incarcerated, did send her a recording of reading a story.
Oh,
So
good.
pleased to hear that. So I don't know if she's in McLean County or not, but it does mean a lot to the kids. This little girl's face just lit up, and there's a lot of struggles with that situation, but she was very, very pleased to hear a story from her mom. So thank you very much for doing that. Please keep doing that. It is paying off.
Anyone else? Okay, you're doing a lot, Jackie. Thank you.
Yep.
Can we clone you? Can we clone you?
I'm not sure everyone would love that.
Okay, Diane, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I would just like to commend Jackie and her staff. They do a lot. They do a lot for not only the inmates, but they're there to support the staff as well. Their days are long. They have their schedules set out so that we have coverage 7 days a week. They really take ownership and pride in what they do in helping the community and the inmates we serve. So I just want to say they do an excellent job, and we're really lucky to have her.
Thank you. We have 2 pods that are behavioral health.
We have one pod that is specifically behavioral health. For our women, we don't have a specific pod because there aren't enough. So, but we are fortunate enough that many times we're able to integrate our women into the general population. They just seem to kind of are able to manage that a little bit better. But at this time, we only have one.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much. That was informative. Next is Jessica McKnight, Health Department Administrator, and you have 2 items for action. The first item is request approval of an ordinance by McLean County Board amending Chapter 205 fees, Article 11 miscellaneous code fees, and McLean County Code for Chapter 216 food service. Do I have a motion? Motion by Knapp, second by Byrne. Discussion, or you want to explain that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to provide a little bit more information. These are part of our budgeting process for 2025, just reviewing our fees. And so, as mentioned in the packet, it's a 3% increase to the permit fees for the food service. They've been frozen, so we haven't seen an increase since 2021. So this is the first one in a couple years. But happy to try to answer any questions about this.
Any questions? Okay, hearing none, we're going to be voting on the fees in Chapter 216, food service. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that is approved. Next item is C1B, request to approve an ordinance by the McLean County Board amending Chapter 205, Article 9, miscellaneous code fees in McLean County Code, Chapter 310, sewage disposal systems, water wells, and geothermal exchange systems. Can I have a motion? Motion by Byrne, second by Knapp. And
Yeah, similarly, this is for the private sewage wells, geothermal exchange systems that we permit, and there are a few that are detailed in here that are either new permits that we haven't had before, or changes beyond just the 3% increase to the permits, and happy to provide any additional details on any of those.
any questions? Okay, hearing none, we are going to be voting on Chapter 310 sewage disposal systems, water wells, and geothermal exchange systems. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that's approved. Next, you have your report.
I do, and it's not in my report, but since the report has been submitted, we do have our flu shots for this season, so just wanted to give a plug that we are scheduling for flu shots. We don't have all of our COVID stock yet, but I've checked with several pharmacies, and they are providing the new COVID vaccine for this season, and soon we'll be scheduling for those as well.
Are you going to be having any clinics, like a flu clinic or a COVID clinic or a combination clinic scheduled?
I was hoping, and it is in here. So in the packet, we've got some walk-in clinics at the health department that'll happen October 11th and 14th and November 8th. And then also working with the ARC and Normal to have another COVID flu clinic in, I believe, October. I think it's the 16th.
Do any of those require appointments, or are they just truly walk-in?
Walk-ins.
Truly walk-in, okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Next is 4D, Tim Wiley, Nursing Home Administrator, and you have an item for action, and it is request approval of an affiliation agreement with the Ohio Medical Career College. And I have a motion. Motion by Johnson, second by Byrne.
This just gives us the opportunity to be a location for clinicals for any of their nursing students doing their online training. And actually, it came about because we had an LPN working for us agency who wants to come work for us as an RN. And so what we are doing, just to say thank you, is setting it up to where she doesn't have to return to Ohio to do her clinicals.
So is she from here? Just a curiosity question.
Yes, she is. This was the online institution that she elected to use.
Maybe we can get some more of those?
That would be wonderful.
That would be great. Any other questions? Okay, we'll be voting on, what are we voting on? Affiliation agreement with Ohio Medical Career College. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that's approved. And then you have your report.
Yeah, just highlighting a couple of things. First of all, it was a really strong month for us from a census standpoint and from a revenue standpoint. You can see that as it caught my attention, the expenses were a little high, but as I drilled down into those expenses, it was just the result of payment of invoices timing. There were some invoices from prior months that were paid in July that impacted our expenses. So that expense number does not necessarily accurately reflect what it cost us in July to operate. It's just where we are in the year. I would also have some interest in the report in a vest that makes people in a work mode. That did pique my attention. So I would just bring that before the committee too. If you are aware of such vests for human beings, I would be interested in that.
Thank you. Yeah, once the CAFR came out, that I noticed that the balance, the net position is pretty good for the last year, so we're kind of still moving in that good direction, so.
So far, so good.
Yeah, and to see that those revenues were up again, that's good, so.
Yes. There was a slight uptick in agency utilization. Some of that was relative to holiday season and then, or summer vacation season, I should say. And then getting back into the school year, we had a handful of employees who were full-time who changed to PRN because they're going to nursing school. So we ended up having a slight increase in our agency utilization, but it's trending back down.
Well, and that's kind of seasonal, and like a lot of positions are seasonal, so. All right, anyone else? Okay, thank you. Next, I believe, is the County Administrator, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Chair Schaefer. I have no items to present to this committee this evening.
Okay, any other business or communication from anyone? Okay, our next meeting is October 10th, 2024, and then this meeting is adjourned.
Well, it doesn't have to interrupt the adjournment, but I just want to remind everyone that the meeting in October will be a longer meeting because we will be providing the presentations for the budget for these departments.
Thank you. I forgot about that. Yes, so plan for an hour at least. And Daisy can come visit us again. Thank you. We're adjourned.